My heart is large enough to suffer 1,000 insults, but too small to accept the loss of one friend. Earlier this month, I finished The Last Light, the 5th book in The Wandering Inn by Pirate Abba, and it continues to be a series I really love. I am, at this point, an unashamed fan, and it's a very strong recommendation of a series so far for me. I'm just going to tell you that right now. And The Last Light's no different. In fact, I think it's a much stronger entry than the last 2 books specifically. Whereas, Winter Solstice and Flowers of Eshelm were a bit more of the slice of life part of The Wandering Inn, this leans way back into the epic fantasy, like way stronger back into the epic fantasy, and it gets into it like almost immediately, just almost immediately. So this one in particular is interesting because we get to pick up on certain POVs that we haven't seen in a little bit. And we also get to resume one of my personal favorite points of view, which is Geneva, set in Barlayos. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm so sorry. There's so many names in this. It's so hard to remember. And I really like this entry because I feel like Pirate Abba was very good at balancing the points of view in this. Sometimes, the last 2 entries, I felt like we spent too much time in the inn with Eren and too much time focusing on the more relaxing bits, and I enjoy that. I'm not saying I don't enjoy that. It's obviously a highlight of this series. I think Eren is a great character. I think Lioness is a great character. I love spending time with all of them in the inn. I think The Wandering Inn is a very cool setting. I think the score is a very cool setting, but also sometimes I want to see more of this world. There's 6 continents, and we've seen 1% of all of them. Tops. We've seen a very, very small amount of each of them. And there's so much mystery and so many moving parts that it's I kind of want to see this other stuff. And in this book, we kind of get that. We get to see Geneva, who is one of the main characters we kind of got to see in Faye and Fair, if I remember correctly. She's this doctor. She's in Barlayos, something like that. It's this continent that's basically all at war, and they're basically got these giant mercenary companies that are always fighting each other over resources, and she's the only doctor in the area, and I really like her point of view because it leans hard into the epic fantasy side of The Wandering Inn, and I think it really shows off the talent of Pirate Abba as an author. It's incredible to me because I feel like one of the main criticisms that this series has is the prose or the writing, and while I get it's no Tad Williams, you're not reading Faulkner or some really high you're not reading the Iliad or anything, but I always think the writing is very compelling in these books, even if the language is simple, I guess. This is a web serial, after all. A very stupidly long web serial, originally. I just find it so interesting because, in this book, we're introduced to, basically 3 entire new characters through the Geneva plotline, and I felt within a matter of, an hour, I was just instantly attached to these characters, and I want to see more from them when that plot line ended. And that is really the talent of The Wandering Inn, at least so far, is that I feel like Pirate Abba, as an author, is very good at getting you invested in characters and seeing what's happening to them. And I say that almost for any character, although I will admit, and this is my only downside of this book, that I did struggle at the beginning because of the Floss King of Destruction chapters. Now, the reason I personally struggle with that is because I don't think Floss is that great of a point of view to follow. And I say that as someone who likes villains. I like villains. I think villains are very cool. I don't really care that he's a genocidal maniac or that he sells slaves. I don't really care about any of that. I'm fine with that. It's a book. It doesn't infringe on my personal morality to follow a piece of garbage. What bothers me is that this Floss is supposed to be like this ultra cool, like super charismatic leader, and I just don't get that vibe from him. I think he kind of comes off as like a cocky, like only semi-competent individual. Like, he basically abandoned his kingdom for 20 years because he got big sad because like his lover or someone died. I don't know. There's just something about his point of view I'm not entirely enticed by, if I'm being honest. And while I really enjoyed every other part of that book, I feel like that is the main reason that this one isn't my favorite entry, because everything else is really, really good. The Eren stuff is really good, the Geneva stuff is really good, the Ryoka stuff is really good, and this one ends on a banger. This ends on a banger. It's arguably the best ending in the series so far. I'll have a review of The General of Israel up later today, where I'll say that's the best entry. But like, this ending is also really spectacular. We get to see this fight in the end. No spoilers, obviously. But like, it's really good, y'all. There's like this entire uncovering of a murder plotline thing that's going on. We get reintroduced to some of the Necromancer's henchmen, and there's a fight in the end, and that's all I'll say. And the fight's really, really good, and the stakes are super high, and it feels like it. It feels like it, and the way that plot line has had repercussions in future entries is really, really, really good. And it's amazing that Pirate Aba, like, when I first got into this series, I never thought like I'd be invested on behalf of like so many characters. I never thought I'd like the action sequences as much as I do. But Pirate Aba is a very strong author in the characterization sense and in an action sense. I'm not saying she's Joe Abercrombie level, or they're Joe Abercrombie level, excuse me, but they're a very good author, and they know how to balance action in a way that's engaging to a reader, which so few fantasy authors do, in my opinion. So, just high praise for this book all around. The world building continues to be great. The characterizations continue to be great. I feel like the writing continues to get stronger in every entry. Again, maybe not the best prose you'll ever read, but it's moving, at least to me. And it's filled with action. Filled with it. And it's really well-written action, in my opinion. So, for Last Light, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's really, really good.